Yo, we are back in After Effects, and in today's video we'll be going over how to create this smooth title/text animation inside of After Effects using Element 3D. It looks buttery smooth and it is pretty easy to do as well. So without wasting any more time, let's just jump in it. So in my timeline you can see I have all of these clips lined up from a laser dim video, so we're gonna make the effect on here. So firstly, let's just make a solid right here by using workflow. If you want to download this plugin, I'll link it in the description as well. But now let's just hide this solid for now, and we're gonna make a text as well in here. And the font I'm using is ABC Rip Pro Black. You can just see it here, I don't even know. But in here I'm just gonna write my title, which is WYZ. I recommend doing this in short letters on like 3 or 4 letters max. If your title is around there, use this effect. It looks so cool, because if you do more, it can get a bit like time taking, but you could do it. But anyways, we're gonna scale it up something like this, and we're gonna duplicate this, and in here we're gonna write our artist name, which is LaserDim 700, and then you can just lower down the size of this one and put that on right here. So we have our basic title reference going on right here. We're gonna use this to create our 3D title. So now let's just hide both of this text layer, and we're gonna select our solid, enable that, add the element on here, which is a plugin as well. So firstly in here, let's just go into custom layer, go into custom text and marks, and in part 1 we're gonna set it as our title. In on layer 2 we're gonna set it as our artist name, which is LaserDim, and go over to custom texture maps on it as well, and set the layer 1 as our footage layer. So we have all of the linking set it up. Now we're gonna head over to scene setup on the element, and now in this new panel we're gonna hit extrude to make our text, and you can see your 3D text now. To customize this, open up the extrusion model, and you can just extrude it more so it's a bit thick, something like this. Before getting more into the video, I just want to let you know I just dropped my ultimate 3D title bundle, which comes with my latest pack, 3D text and title preset, and one of my OG pack, the 3D title pack you already know. The bundle allows you to add some crazy titles for your music video in just few clicks, and also when you buy the bundle it's $28 off, so it's a steal for real. I'll link it in the description if you want to check it out. Back to the video, and now we're gonna copy this model and drag it out of the group like this until it turns red, and go over to here where it says 1, set it to true, and now go over to the edit on the extrusion model and just set the custom path as our custom path 2, and it would turn into our artist name. That's exactly what we want. So now let's just head over to our title again, which is this one, and now in scene you can see a setting called view in here. Just set it to parse, and it will bring up all of these like individually where we can control those stuff. So now we're gonna set our W, the first letter, as a channel 1 by right clicking, going over to AUX animation and set it to channel 1, and for the second one set it as the channel 2, and for the third one set it as the channel 3. So that will allow us to control these individually. But anyways, let's just go back over to the material view again. Then we're gonna apply some basic material into here, something like this material. It looks pretty cool. It's called Frost Metal from Illustrator, so I'm gonna use this one, and also put the material on like our artist name. And now we're gonna set the environment, so go over to environment and set it as our footage layer. So now as you can see we are pretty much done in here. We're gonna exit out of here by hitting OK. Now in here you can see both of our text. We're gonna go over to group 2 and just disable that for now, because we are working with like the title first, and we are working on like the artist name after that. So now in here we're going to create a new camera, set it as 15mm, and you can just zoom it in a little bit more, something like that. Then selecting our solid layer again, we're going to go over to render settings, and you can play with the lighting preset on it. I like to set it to 360 and just go to the rotation and rotate it a bit, something like this, like that. That looks pretty cool right there, matches my scene. Now we have a basic title. Now we're going to start adding the animation on it. So close up render settings for for now. We're gonna pop back into the group 1. Now go over to AUX channels, then open up channel 1, channel 2 and channel 3 as well. So in channel 1 you can control your first letter, channel 2 you can control your second, so in channel 3 you can control your third letter. So firstly in the channel 1 I like to create a position animation on the Z axis. So hit the stopwatch in here, set it to 0, and we're gonna hit U on our timeline to bring up the keyframe of the layer and put it a bit further on the timeline. And now we can just bring up the value so it will go out of frame like that. Then after that, just ease those keyframes up, go into graph and make a similar graph like this, like a fast graph like this. Works hard with it, or something like that looks cool. So something like this looks cool at our first letter. Now we're gonna go over to the second letter, and for this one I will do completely opposite. I'll make it like pop in. You can even do it from the scale, but let's just do it with like the x-axis. So hit the stopwatch in there, put it a bit further. I will delay it a bit, so starting around here, and I will just push it further. Easy is those keyframe. I will also hit the stopwatch on the scale for this one, so the same thing goes with the scale of 0 to 100. And in here I will also hit the stopwatch on the force opacity and animate the opacity as well. Now select those keyframes, go into graph and make a similar graph in here, so something like this. And another handy tool you can use is flow when you're making like titles. So you can just select all of these and add like a similar graph on the flow, and it should make a smooth graph with one click, so you don't have to like play around with a lot of stuff. Maybe I'll tighten up the graph a bit more. Yeah, that looks super smooth for me. Now we're gonna do the same thing with our third letter. Hit the stopwatch in there. I'll make it a little faster, and I'll bring up the amount on the negative side, so something like this. So now again select both of those keyframes, ease those, go into graph and make a similar graph on it. So now our position animations are done. We're gonna head over to rotation and do the same thing in it. So hit the stopwatch on the first rotation and put the 0 keyframe a bit further on the timeline. I'll make it 2 cycle. Make sure to do it 2 cycle, it looks really cool. And put this keyframe at the beginning as well. F9 and a similar graph from the flow. So flow, that looks really smooth right there. So I'm gonna do that same thing with my second letter, but this time I'm gonna use the Y one. So let's just hit the stopwatch in there, 2 cycle on the Y and a simple graph on the flow. And for this I'm gonna use the G one. So now we have this smooth animation that we want. So now we are almost done with all the letters. We're gonna close the group 1 and head over to group 2 and enable that, and I'll go into particle replicator, put it on the bottom like that, and you can also lower down the size a bit. And in here I will also animate the size of the artist name, so 0 to the value we are in, similar graph on it, and head over to particle rotation, and I'll make a Y rotation in here as well, so something like this, or maybe I'll do like a 1 cycle on it. Now we are almost done with the animations. Now we're gonna start the finishing touches to make it more better. Firstly, let's just close up the group as well and go over to render settings, and we're gonna also close the lighting for now, and we're gonna head over to ambient occlusion. Just enable that, and you can just bring up the value on the ambient occlusion to get those like really cool shadows. It makes it 10x more cleaner, and you can just bring up the samples of the shadows, or you can also set it to like ray traced if you have a good computer, but it will take a bit a while to render. I think I'm gonna go with ray traced for now. And now we want to select our camera and hit R to bring up the rotation of the camera. Now in rotation we're gonna go over to orientation and all click in there, add like a wiggle expression with the frequency of 2 maybe, and amount to 2 as well, so it's like 2. Yeah, that's too much I guess. Maybe frequency of 1 and the amount to about like 1 as well. I want like a subtle movement on the title. Yeah, that looks pretty cool right there. I like the animation right there. Now we're gonna turn on the motion blur on our element layer, so we have some smooth motion blur going on, and with it we're gonna add an RSMB, turn on the GPU of the RSMB, make the motion sensitivity 100, and also with it optic glow, bring up the highlights only, and you can just bring up the size a little bit and lower down the amount. And you can, after that, you can add like a curve just to push the shadows a little bit more. And lastly, I think I will add a shutter blur onto our background with a fast box blur with the amount like 3 or 2, something like that. So now our final result looks something like this. So hope you like this video. If you did, please consider hitting the like button, and you can also subscribe to my channel. This type of video takes a lot of effort to make, so I would really appreciate it if you just hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. That means the world to me. And you can also follow me on Instagram, join my Discord server while you're in it. So yeah, see you in the next video. Peace.